طيب دقائق إن شاء الله ونبدأ. ننتظر بس الأخوة يأتون من الغرفة الرئيسية.
بإذن الله.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce our next presenter, Ms. Fadiah Alamri. Ms. Fadiah is a candidate at Duke University. So Ms. Fadiah will be sharing valuable insights on the judicial impartiality in the digital age, the indirect impact of social media recommendation systems and digital impartiality. The presentation will last about 15 minutes, followed by 10 minutes for question and discussion. Please post your question in the Q&A or the chat if you can, or raise your hand after the talk. I invite you to give your full attention and a warm welcome to our presenter.
All right. Thank you so much, Fahhad, for this warm introduction. And I'm really honored and happy to be speaking in such a great symposium. I know it's like the first Saudi legal symposium in the United States. It's something that Saudi students started, so I'm extremely proud of that. And I am extremely happy for the invitation to speak today. So I'm not going to take much of your times. I just wanted to introduce myself. If you can move to the next slide. Sorry. Thank you. I'll give like a really brief introduction about myself. But basically, my name is Fadiah Alamri. I'm an LLM candidate at Duke University School of Law. I'm Saudi lawyer for like 4 years now, and I'm experienced in practicing in litigation, arbitration, and corporate matters. I practiced in Riyadh for like around 4 years. I worked also as a bankruptcy assistant, and I'm a member of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, and a Saudi member of the American Bar Association. For now, I'm working as a faculty libraries research assistant at Duke University, and I'm really happy and thrilled to be speaking today. I wanted to take this opportunity to exchange ideas and insights. It's either about other topics or my topic. I will welcome any new insights. So thank you so much. So let's move to like the introduction of my paper. If you can move to the next slide. Yes. So, okay. Let me start with like a very simple question. Have you ever talked about something, random something, and then suddenly you saw it on your phone and it was shown in your like Instagram or TikTok or whatever like a platform that you have? Sometimes like these kind of things scare me a lot, and I wonder how this happened. So basically, social media platforms like Instagram or TikTok, they use something called recommendation systems, which is like a group of algorithms. Basically, they study what's your history, what do you click, what do you talk, what do you say, and they decide what do you see next. So my research paper, of course, like this is not a very legal topic, but my research paper was wondering about judges who are like, judges are very in a very sensitive position in our society. The judge have like a huge responsibility of maintaining the impartiality. So within all the recommendation system thoughts and wonders if that can affect the judges. I'll give you an example. Imagine a judge spend the day hearing a dispute about like a certain topic, or like, for example, case. Instagram and just anything, and then suddenly he sees a video explaining that exact component of the thing that he was looking at, or like the case he was actually judging in the morning. So the judge basically, he didn't search like intentionally for that. He didn't ask for it. but the algorithms, they delivered this information for him as a judge. So my question will be, if we can move to the other slide, please, thank you. My question will be, can this kind of unintentional exposure influence the judicial thinking? Because we, as a legal system, we care more about like how judges should be separated from any influence. So judicial impartiality is one of these like foundations of justice. We trust judges and we want them to be always independent and free from any outside influences. But our ethical rules, either like in Saudi or in the United States, they were created for like to protect these judges, but we didn't focus more on like the indirect influence by something driven by platforms like algorithms or recommendation systems, as we said. So basically, my paper will explore whether recommendation systems will create a new form of influence where like it will be a legal issue, and we can say that it's going to be an ethical framework that we have to handle in the future. If we can move to the next slide, thank you. Okay, so the core question, yes, thank you. The core question of my paper: can a judge's impartiality be affected not through intentional research, not through like misconduct, but just simply because of algorithm showed him a certain post or a certain like topic, and he was influenced by it? So like we can ask the question of, can a judge be influenced without even trying to be influenced? So traditionally, we know that like the threat of impartiality can come from people talking like in person with you, or like a bias, a bias direct, let's say, that comes from people trying to influence you through it's either as a judge you do a research about the matter that you're looking at, or you're hearing other opinions which can directly influence you. But if an algorithm will show a judge a certain type of content related to an issue that they're deciding at the moment, we have to ask ourselves the question about, is that exposure can affect the impartiality of these judges? Can it be like a threat to the impartiality of the judicial system? All right, so let me talk more about judicial ethics. And for now, I'm not going to talk about like, I'm basically going to concentrate on the ABA, Model Code of Judicial Conduct, which is the American Bar, it comes from the American Bar Association. So Rule 2.2, which is impartiality and fairness, the rule explains that a judge shall uphold and apply the law and shall perform all duties of judicial office fairly and impartiality. That's very understandable. So there's like a comment to that rule, explains the rule by saying that although each judge comes to the bench with a unique background, a personal philosophy, a judge must interpret and apply the law without regard to whether the judge approves or disapproves of the law in question. So the opinion of the judge by himself should not matter when he is looking at a case. But again, the rule 2.9c from the ABA Model Code of Judicial Conduct says that a judge shall not investigate facts in a matter independently, and shall consider only the evidence presented and any facts that may properly be judicially noticed. So let's like pause in here about judicially noticed, because this is the only exception of the rule. We're going to talk more about what is judicially noticed or not in like next slide. But I'll just move towards like the comment 6 that mentioned clearly that the prohibitions against a judge investigating the fact in a matter extend to information available in all medium, including electronic. So basically, the rule explicitly said that any electronics can be involved in like the investigation that the judge is not allowed to do. So we can clearly understand now that any use of social media by any chance for the judge to investigate about a matter that he's looking at right now is not allowed. So maybe we will raise this question, like what type of media are like prohibited from judges, or judges are prohibited of using? Does that mean that judges are not able to use social media at all? Because like we still see a lot of judges using social media, especially, I mean, I'm not talking about Saudi, like in the US there are judges who have social media accounts. So what is the explanation for that? So basically, under the ABA model rule, judges are prohibited from using media to obtain information about parties or facts in cases before them, except for, as we said, the independent investigation. So we have 2.9C, which permits judges to consider facts that they may properly be judicially noticed. And basically, under Federal Rules of Evidence 2.201, judicial notice basically means, like in simple language, the rules that not prohibit legal search, but specifically restrict independent research of the facts. So let's just like put it this way: if the judge will look into a fact of something that is very well known about for everyone, like the sky is blue, this is not an independent research. This is something factual, so everyone knows about this fact, so it's not going to be an independent research. That's basically the meaning of the rule, the 201 rule. So that's basically what it means. So other than that, if it's related to the case that they're looking at right now, that is not judicially noticed, and any research, any form of research about that will be prohibited for sure. So back to the question that I asked: are judges allowed to use social media? So according to ABA again, formal opinion 462, judges may participate in electronic social networking provided that comply with the Code of Judicial Conduct. Means basically judges are allowed to use social media, but they have to maintain independence, they have to maintain impartiality, and they have to be proper and be representable as a judge in the social media, basically. So judges may use social media, but certain things are prohibited, as I mentioned before, like the intentional investigation about facts in the matter that they're looking at. So I explained for like 13 minutes now. I took much of the time explaining the ABA rules. Let me give you a brief about the recommendation system. What is the recommendation system? Basically, as I said before, recommendation system is the system where like the program will suggest services or products or posts for you based on how do you react? What do you say? If the settings allow this certain application to give access to the microphone or the camera or anything. So this access can be like a way for these algorithms to collect information and to give you the best suggestions for you. I think most of us see this a lot in Instagram when we talk about something or we think about something or we like write something on like texting or something. We find it in front of us, literally the post that exactly what we're talking about. So how they do it, they use basically three main types of these recommendation system. If we can go to the next slide. Yeah. So we have the content-based filtering. Means like, I'll make it like in an easy example. If you were watching an action movie, for example, so it will suggest you another action movie. That's content-based filtering. So based on the content that you watched before or you saw or like you were exposed to. So the other type is collaborative filtering, which basically, for example, if people who like the same hotel as you, as what you liked, and you liked another hotel, it was suggested to you, basically. So it's like a form of collaborative filtering where it would recommend items based on similar uses liked, like similar users in the social media like the same items that you liked. We have also hybrid filtering, which combines both of these types. So that's a very short intro about what is recommendation system. Yeah. If you can go to the, yes. Okay. What is the threat? Like, how can these algorithms or how can this recommendation system shape our thinking? Basically, social media can influence behavior, and we see this a lot when we see like how people change their thoughts, change a lot of things, a lot of perspectives based on what is brought to them in their feed on, like, for example, Instagram or TikTok. So can you imagine this system being influencing a very sensitive people in our judicial system, like judges? So basically that means, okay, I think I'm like very close of the end of the time. So, I'll just make it short that there's an actual threat of the algorithms trying to influence the judges. So, this threat should be shown in the way we form the ethics rules, and we have to change. We have to be we have to have some sort of collaboration between us and cybersecurity to maintain the judges' impartiality and make sure that it won't be affected by the future technologies or the technical development in the future. Thank you so much. I think I'm out of time. Or do I still have 3 minutes?
We have still maybe 5 minutes for questions.
All right.
So if you want to ask, just raise your hand. I can start with a quick question. So for the judicial impartiality, do you think that can go beyond the judge, him or herself, to like his family, his friends, because the algorithms so will like share who around you. So do you think must be like go beyond that or just for the judge, focus on the judge?
Great question. Thank you so much. So I'll just make it short because I saw someone else wants to ask a question, and I'm happy to talk after that. So absolutely, having like family members or friends who are like having a certain opinion about certain thing can influence the judge's impartiality, because as we said, the recommendation system has collaborative filtering, which can recommend from other people in your networking system, in the recommendation system. So basically, that can be an actual threat to the judge looking at the case, because like some like cousin or like a family member liked some post, for example, this post will there's a high chance of this post to be exposed to the judge, and that can be an actual threat. But what I meant is that the thoughts and the information that was shared in front of the phone when the microphone is open, for example, and the judge was looking at a case, that can be an actual threat, because phones can collect data and can collect information, and this information can be exposed to the social media algorithm and the recommendation system, and it can recommend some posts that can influence the judge. It's either directly or indirectly. Yeah, I think I see some hands.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
go ahead, Ahmed.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for the talk. The problem seems to be generalized, and I think the problem can be applied to any individual using their social media. And we can take the case of votes, for example, in the United States. People can be influenced to vote for one party and not for the other. Now, to be specific, if the judges have their own social media and they can be pointed out in social media, then they are vulnerable to scheme to influence their opinion on to a specific matter. So it's not a scheme, it's a targeted scheme. So for a specific, so they are vulnerable. So what's your opinion on that? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, as you mentioned before, like it's not only an issue for judges, it's an issue like in general. A lot of sensitive positions can be affected by these like social media algorithm or like the recommendation system in general. My concern was that basically is that the ABA rules mentioned clearly that judges are not allowed to use social media to conduct an independent search about the case that they're looking at. So if we take it from this perspective, being exposed to these recommendation system algorithms or like the post that they recommend for us is not an issue at all, because the judge at this point, he is complying to the rule. But if we look at it from the bigger picture, which is, did it actually influence the judge? Well, actually, it did influence the judge in the way maybe he won't find it directly, but it's indirectly trying to give him opinions, shape the information, the past information that they have about like a certain case. So that can be an actual threat that should be exposed and more talked about more. So I recommended some things that can help with that. Well, basically, I think that it's either we have to focus more. We have to do certain things to mitigate the indirect influence of the recommendation system on judges, by for the judges themselves to be under certain training to know how to stop the excess of, for example, the microphone, the cameras, the inputs, for example. But still, they're gonna be exposed to some danger for that, not only because of these inputs, but like for, as I said, like the recommendation system is way more complicated than that. So that's another way. The other way is basically to like highlight more about this issue and the collaboration between law and experts in technology and cybersecurity. I think the laws are the ABA rules, when I read them, they were very specific, but I think they have to be updated to the latest technologies that we have right now and how this can shape the understanding of the judge himself of a lot of aspects in the cases that they're looking at.
So I think we are reached our time. So I will conclude with this request. There is a request to read your paper. I'm not sure if you want to share your email or any.
I would love to, yeah, I would love to reconnect with anyone and answer any questions. If you would like to like have my LinkedIn account, I would love that.
Yeah, if you can like share it in the chat. So
my pleasure. My pleasure.
So we reach our time. Thank you so much, Ms. Fadiah, for this invaluable presentation, and thank you for you all to attend and to engage. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Fahhad, and it's my pleasure to be speaking in here, and I wish you all the best, all of you. Thank you so much. I shared my LinkedIn page in the text.
Yes, the LinkedIn in the chat. Anyone want to like connect with Ms. Fadiah? Just go to the chat. Thank you so much all.